this week Sunday, we start with Palm Sunday, and we begin the most important week in the whole year for the Catholic Church, the week where Christ dies for us. More importantly, Christ rises for us again. Lent has been a long Lent. I don't know if you've had a great time. I sincerely hope that you have. But for me, I have really felt challenged across the course of this Lent. I've never felt like I needed to break my Lenten promises as much as I felt I have over the past week or two. I tell you, I miss coffee so much, guys. Like I'm low-key dying over here. I'm not particularly keen on telling everyone what my Lenten sacrifices are, just simply because I don't want anyone to feel like they have to compete or their Lenten sacrifice is better than mine or less than mine or anything of that nature. Because fundamentally, I think each and every one of us has gone on our own journey across this Lenten season. But one of the Lenten sacrifices that I partook in was to start doing something called a daily examen. So at the end of the day, every day, to reflect on what that day was and how that day went. Look for the way that God blessed you throughout the course of the day. Look for the way that I've fallen or I've sinned against Him throughout the course of the day. And then ask Him both for forgiveness, but also for the ability to not commit that sin again tomorrow, the next day, or so on and so forth. And this is just a small example of something that was a part of my Lenten sacrifice that is almost internalized into my life now. I'm not saying that I'm not sinning, but what I am saying is that I'm like so much more conscious of it in a weird way. Like I can't almost just fall back on ignorance. I know I'm like, oh my gosh, this is something that I'm going to have to really think about later on today. And so that subtly changes my behavior. And really the reason I'm saying this is because I hope that you have similar experiences in your Lenten journey. I hope that you have seen the way that something that you've done, maybe prayed more or fasted or gave stuff up, something has changed within you, and something has changed with your relationship with God. That's really the purpose of Lent. But as I said last year, Lent doesn't stop at Easter. Lent is a way of life, right? Like this is something that we're supposed to continue long after Easter Sunday comes and goes next weekend. And until that point, Lent is not done, right? I think we get to week 5 and a lot of people have fallen off the bandwagon. A lot of people have almost like given up or quit on their Lenten sacrifice or what they've taken on during this Lent because it may have been challenging or because life just gets in the way. I get it. But you've got a week and a half left to get back up and continue doing what it is that you felt like you were called to do at the beginning of Lent. Really, this is both a reminder that God is working and has worked, but also an exhortation to say, if you've fallen, every day is an invitation to get back up. And you've got 10 plus days to get back up until the end of this Lenten season. And so the last thing that I want to focus on, the last thing I want to touch on in this video is to look at the purpose beyond just fasting, prayer, and almsgiving, right? We touched on this at the beginning of Lent when we chose the theme, Hope Does Not Disappoint. If you feel like this Lent has not been one where you've grown, has not been one where you've grown close to God, or you felt like something has changed, yet you've stayed and remained faithful to God with this whole Lenten season, or if you've fallen, to say that in our eyes this wasn't a success would be incorrect, to be frank. I think the truth is that God doesn't need us to be perfect. He needs us to be faithful. And that was a famous quote from Mother Teresa. And so what does that look like? We may not understand why we have partaken in this Lenten journey to this point. I don't necessarily know what your sacrifice is, and I don't know why you did it. Maybe you don't either, but we mentioned this early in the Lenten season. We shouldn't be necessarily looking for outcomes or for a specific goal for our Lent to be successful. Hope is not contingent on the thing that we want to happening. I saw something yesterday that reminded me that what is our relationship with prayer? And I would say, what is our relationship with Lent as well, right? Is our relationship with God transactional, where I'm only going to hope in you, contingent that on the premise that I'm going to get X result? Am I only going to pray for the purpose of getting X result, or am I going to pray because that's the way that I converse with my nearest and dearest friend, right? am I going to hope only because I'm going to get some results at the end of Lent? Or am I going to hope irrespective of if I get a result at the end of Lent? And so as we walk into the final week of Lent, if this Lent in your mind hasn't necessarily been the most successful one, I would ask you and I challenge you to reframe that. Because irrespective if it was successful or not, this was the Lent that God called you into, and this was the Lent that ultimately He decided to give to you. If you've participated and engaged with Him in this journey, even if we may not necessarily know why He did what He did and why Lent has gone the way that it's gone, He certainly does. And on that basis, I can't help but think that Lent is going to be a success in that way. Ultimately, when we say the Lord's Prayer, we ask that God's will may be done on earth as it is in heaven. Right? We trust that His will is going to be done in our lives, and that is what we define as the life that we would want to live as Catholics. And so, if we feel like Lent hasn't succeeded because it didn't go according to our plan, or because we didn't succeed, or we didn't hold fast to our prayer, fasting, and almsgiving towards the end of it, or something of that nature, if it wasn't perfect, and thus we perceive it to not have been successful in our eyes, I would ask you to think about the way that you interact and relate to God. Do you need perfection for God to exist? Do you need perfect circumstances for you to maintain your relationship with God? Or do you live in a place where, like all of us, things go wrong and still we choose to hope and trust in Him? Still we choose to pursue Him, and still we choose to get back up. My name is Marco Manzella. I'm Catholic and I'm proud. I hope that you are too. God bless, guys. I will see you guys soon. Ciao. As a reminder, we're releasing a video every day across this Lenten season as we reflect on the readings associated with that day in Lent. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Share it with someone who needs to hear about hope, who needs a little bit of hope in this moment. More importantly, pray for that person. Know that I'm praying for you as well as we continue in our Lenten journey together. God bless, guys. My name is Marco Manzella. I'm Catholic and I'm proud. I hope that you guys are too. Three, you be grateful you didn't have to listen to the first two attempts at this, at a joke, at anything funny earlier. One day, it will be a miracle. It will truly be a miracle.
Ready for this one?
Yes.
Welcome to Rose Church Chuckle. Okay, so, Marco, why is Rick Astley a bad Catholic?
Goodbye.